Yet we understand that this day is taken very seriously by the government authorities and civil society associations. We find out how one particular association commemorated this very big day in Yaoundé.
Hello, and thanks for joining me to talking about the African Child's Day, a day that was naturally set aside given the predicament that followed children with the massacre in Soweto, South Africa, where over 100 children were killed. And that is the idea behind the celebration of the African Child's Day. And like you can see behind me, the Bring Light and Smile in Africa Association equally took part in the celebration of this very historical day. And that story and the actions of what took place is what I want you to join me as we move into the amphi, where the action, the debates, and all the analysis took place out here on Hello. It is on the backdrop of these pathetic images some 38 years ago that changed the course of South Africa's history and that of the African continent that the international community decided to dedicate every June 16 as the Day of the African Child. While the government organized major activities to reflect on the day, the civil society was equally busy organizing awareness and sensitization platforms. Such is the case with the Bring Light and Smile in Africa Association, who mobilize students while using education as a key solution to the plight of the African child. Yet, it was equally a platform for BLAS to review what strategies need to be put in place to influence decisions on the question of educating the African child.
Do you think civil society cannot face the issue of education in a divided way? If we come together and join the hands, then we can do something in order to promote this question of education, in order to education for all.
With some minds of the opinion that the celebration of the day has impacted very little on the evolution of the African child, BLAS in Africa debated on sustainable reforms that will henceforth give the day some real meaning.
So far in our constitution, we have the issue of instruction. But the right to education for all, a right to free education for all, is not yet inscribed in our constitution. And this is the reform we think in a day like today, we will be happy to see our governance, our leaders, introducing that policy so that every child will feel as his own right to have education.
For BLAS to obtain its laid-down vision of bringing light and smile to African children, the panelists were of the opinion that sustainable research and integral education should be taken to the grassroots level. Enough reasons why governance is indispensable.
There is a need for a mental revolution, and that is just where the problem of attitudes comes in. Governance is just there to try and ameliorate in another way the control mechanisms on the management in teaching domains, just like in health sector for all by the year 2035.
While governance seeks a place to give an even more meaningful day of the African child, BLAS in Africa is keen on the effective implementation of laws governing the African child. Should these aforementioned efforts be realized, then the African child will just be matured enough for the 2035 vision for Africa. The celebration of the African Day of the Child definitely is incumbent not only on the government but equally on the civil society. And just like BLAS in Africa is putting hands on deck alongside the international community, it is very obvious that only when these actors come together, then can they give meaning to children to reflect on the massacres in Soweto and definitely shape a better future for them. After all, the future of Africa depends on how well the kids of today are empowered. And that is just what BLAS in Africa is doing by bringing light, hope, and optimism to the lives of African children. What do you think about that? Over.
Welcome back. Thank you very much. I hope you have an experience how the Day of the African Child, the International Day of the African Child, is being viewed and how it's being commemorated here in Cameroon.